Hi guys, my name is Lennox. Welcome back to my channel. Tonight will be my first official pregnancy video. I have a lot that's been on my mind. There's a lot to share. I don't really know where to start. I've been trying to do a lot of food review videos recently with my kids and just trying to keep my mind busy because of course I just have like a million things on my mind at one time. I honestly don't even know where to start. I've been so stressed recently. I've been trying to hide it really well. Like my kids, my husband, I don't think anyone really understands like the level of stress I'm under. I'm hoping it's nothing. I don't even really know where to go. I don't know who to talk to. There have been so many things going on as far as this pregnancy goes. Just kind of give you guys all the information that I have. There is a lot of information. I'm hoping someone watching has some sort of advice, as someone has been through the same thing and can give me some sort of hope that everything is just fine. Very few people know about this pregnancy. We have 2 kids already, Brady and Austin. Brady is 6 and Austin is 4, and this baby is due in June. I am currently 21 weeks pregnant. We have only told very close friends and some family members. We're kind of wanting this to be a surprise. With our son, we didn't really tell anybody besides very close family and friends, and everyone was so shocked when we announced it on social media. So we kind of want to do the same thing. It's not really so much for the surprise part of it as much as it is, I've had complications with every single pregnancy. I had complications with my daughter, which I will get into very shortly. So we didn't really want to tell many people about our second pregnancy. And with this pregnancy, because we also had some complications as far as my pregnancy went with Austin, we didn't really want to tell many people. We're very private when it comes to that. And, people are always surprised when we announce big news, but, we just try and move in silence, But this is a big deal to me. This has been just the craziest pregnancy. I am currently 21 weeks pregnant. I have a few close friends who know that I am pregnant, but none of them have experienced something like this. So I think I'm mostly just doing this video. I really would like advice or, some sort of peace of mind to come out of this video. If you've been through anything similar, please comment below because I could really use some hope right now. I have not been giving updates from the beginning, from when I first found out about some complications and such, but I am gonna lay it all out on the table now and I will give you guys updates every time I have them, which will be every 2 weeks. I go to maternal fetal medicine every 2 weeks for multiple reasons, which I'm now going to get into. So we're going to dive into my pregnancy with my daughter, Brady, who is 6. My husband and I did not think we were going to be able to have kids. For various reasons, we just didn't think it was going to happen. And after a year of not preventing anything, we got pregnant with her in December of 2014. We announced very early on, I believe. I was 7 weeks pregnant when we announced to everyone that we were having her. I honestly don't know why we did announce so early because I know miscarriage risk is very high until you're 12 or 13 weeks or out of the first trimester. Also, because we didn't think that we were going to be able to have kids together, to me, in my mind, the chances of something going terribly wrong was significantly higher than someone who didn't have any issues getting pregnant. I guess that's not necessarily the case, but I honestly don't know. Regardless, we let everybody know. After telling our closest family members, we did announce it on Facebook. Everyone was super excited for us and it was great. Most of my pregnancy was pretty easy. In the beginning, I did have, a couple minor little episodes where it was little scares, nothing crazy. It was just I slipped on ice. We lived in Massachusetts at the time where my husband is from. And that was the winter that there was just a ton of snow. It would start to melt down into ice. And literally our driveway had 4 inches of ice. So it was like impossible. We lived in a multifamily house where our landlord just like, I guess, didn't keep up with all of that. And our driveway was an absolute nightmare, like trying to walk out of our front or back door of this house. We were on the second and third floors. So we could either go down the stairs in the back portion of the house or the front. And no matter which way we went, I fell like 3 times. Actually, I think 2 times were on the ice, and 1 time was down the actual stairs in our apartment, which like I said, it was on the second and third floors. And when I was going down the stairs to get to our living room, I mean, these stairs were narrow, like extremely narrow. They were very short. So, it was just like crazy. Like if you have big feet, like I definitely have big feet. My husband has big feet. It was just weird, like, you'd have to like turn your feet to the side. Well, somehow I must have like slipped and my bottom like hit so hard down on the steps, and like I slid down a couple of them. So I mean, I was very early on. I believe all of these were in the first trimester. I think the third fall was when I was like 14 weeks. So I had a lot of ultrasounds, and they kind of like wanted to keep an eye on that. Everything was fine every single time. I mean, they said, there's extra padding when you're early on. So it's really not like a super big concern as far as like falls go until you get farther along when the baby is bigger and can more easily get hurt. I don't want to forget anything. Let's see. We did the anatomy scan, and then after that, I don't think with Brady I had another ultrasound until this big episode. We had driven from where we lived in Massachusetts, which was right in between like Boston and Providence, Rhode Island. We were probably like 40 minutes from Boston, 25 minutes from Providence, Rhode Island. And we drove to Brooklyn, New York to visit one of my husband's friends from the military. It was about a 3.5 hour drive, 4 hours with traffic. So we hung out with him. We went to the beach. We got food. It was great. It was like such a fun time. But I don't know if we overdid it. I don't know if it was like being in the car for an extended period of time. It was just maybe too much for how far along I was. At this point, I was 33 weeks into my pregnancy with Brady. We got home, everything was fine. Like I felt fine. Of course, I was like kind of uncomfortable because when you're pregnant, there's like a ton of pressure, like all the time. Like your hips hurt, like everything's just, your body's changing, the baby's growing, it hurts. So I didn't really think anything of it. Like there was nothing. Like, it's not like I really hurt more than any other time. My husband and I went to bed, got up in the morning. I got up to pee. I came back and I sat down. At this point in my pregnancy, it was hard to breathe. Like, probably before I hit the 3rd trimester, I was already sleeping in one of our recliners on our sectional. So that next morning after we got back from New York, because it was just a day trip. I mean, we drove the 3.5, 4 hours there, hung out for the day, and then we came back late that night. So that next morning when I got up to pee, I came back, I sat down. I tried to go back to sleep, but I don't know, like I just couldn't go back to sleep, and something weird just told me like to get up. Like, I don't know, like it's like one of those weird things, like it was like I just knew something was going on. So I stood up and I like walked into the kitchen, and I just like stopped there, and all of a sudden I just felt a big like gush, and I'm like, is my water breaking? Like, what is going on? So I just kind of like look into my pants. All I see is blood. And oh my God, like this was like the scariest moment of my entire life. And I just like, I still like every time I think about it, I'm like, oh my God. Like they still never figured out what was going on. But so all I see is blood everywhere. Like it's just coming out. It's not stopping. I go, let me rewind a minute. So that next morning, I got up to pee. I went back and I sat down. I couldn't go back to sleep. My husband left to go to work because he had to take care of something at work really fast. He was only going to be at work for like 10-15 minutes, and it was like 10 minutes up the road. So when this bleeding happened, like I said, I had woken up. I used the bathroom. My husband left. I went and I sat back down in my recliner, and like I said, I couldn't fall back asleep. And then I got up, walked into the kitchen, stopped in the middle of the kitchen, like something just didn't feel right. All of a sudden I felt a big gush, thought my water was breaking, look into my underwear and see that there is just blood coming out like so fast. So I go and I sit on the toilet because I'm like, what is going on? Mind you, this is my first baby, so I'm thinking like, is this normal? Like, does blood normally happen? Like, I'm clueless. So I sit on the toilet. I look into the toilet and it literally looks like I'm peeing blood. So I call my doctor's office as fast as I can. The lady at the front answers and I tell her what's going on. I'm like, I just need to know, like, do I need to come in? Do I need to go to the emergency room? What do I do? She hung up on me. Story for another time. Crazy lady. She ended up getting fired, probably for that. But anyway, so I then call my mom and I'm telling her what's going on. I'm like, oh my God, like, I don't know what to do. She's like, well, call your husband, call David. So I call David and I'm like, this is what's happening. Like, I need to go to the emergency room, you know, because I called my mom to find out, like, what do I do? Like, do I go to the emergency room? Because, like, I've never had a kid and she's had 3. So she, of course, was like, yes, call David and go to the emergency room. So I got off the phone with her. I call David. He rushes back, like, swear to goodness, he was back in like 5 minutes, like half the time it takes to get to work. He is panicking. He gets back, he is grabbing towels, like bath towels. I mean, there was blood everywhere. I mean, it looked like a crime scene. He grabbed all the towels he could find, helped me downstairs. Like, it was so terrifying. We get into the car. Thankfully, we had leather seats. I had the towels, like, I kind of had to, like, sit on the, like, a certain position I had to sit for the bleeding to stop. But as soon as I would, like, turn a little bit and, like, sit in a different position, blood would be gushing out again. It was just very concerning. I was so confused by it. I believe I was 23 at the time. So, I mean, for someone so young, had never had a kid, never been pregnant, like, this was just terrifying and traumatizing. We go to the hospital, we go to the emergency room. They get me up to labor and delivery as fast as possible. They do all these checks. They do an ultrasound on Brady. They check me. They literally did as many tests as they possibly could. They could not tell me what was going on. They checked the placenta. They said everything looks good. Still to this day, I don't believe everything was good with the placenta. But I will get to that momentarily. They checked her breathing and they said everything was good. Like, that she was practicing her breathing, and if I absolutely had to give birth, that she should survive.